turn them out by the dozen, by the hundred, by the thousand. So again, looking at images or artifacts from your culture, it is easy for us to come around and develop new products from that. So this is a range of products that were developed from Filipino cultural objects. You see, we said that heritage is all around us. It's even around us in that orange spaghetti stuff. That's still part of our heritage. But you have everyday heritage. The orange spaghetti is everyday heritage as the red hot dog is. The patadyong of Iloilo is everyday heritage that's already disappearing. It's getting harder and harder to find. They use it. It's used for everything from taking a bath in the river to cooking and everyday living. But again, something that I will be coming back to all afternoon is just keep your eyes open, because you never know where you're going to get the idea for the next design that you're going to do. Looking at a bunch of patadyongs like this may give you an idea for a design, and certainly it could. The textile here and even the design on the plate is adapted from everyday stuff. Drawings of leaves that you find in the market are put on a plate. The colors that you find in the patadyong are adapted and made into placemats and so on. Part of the idea of the Filipino heritage of everyday excuse me, is a Filipino fascination with transparency. We like transparent things. We wear transparent stuff. Piña is very valued by Filipinos. We wear layers and layers and layers of it. If you live in a bahay kubo or even in ancestral homes like this, there are no walls inside. Have you ever noticed you go to an old house like in Vigan or somewhere, there's only 2 bedrooms. That's because we don't divide up everything like the Westerners do. Our homes don't have many small rooms. We have 2 or 3 big rooms, and the whole family just comes Filipino style, rolls out the mat, and everybody sleeps together. In old houses, you have doors that are double doors that are always normally left open. You have walls like this that only go up to here, and on top you have the wooden cutouts so the air can go through. So there's the idea of separation here in the Philippines is not as strong as it is in other cultures. In fact, people who live in small nipa houses, a whole family will live in one room, and to be private, one person will just turn around, face the wall and read, and that person is private. Look at this idea of transparency as well, where the wall is pierced to allow air and light to come in from the outside, but it's not a window. You can see outside, but you can't really see. The air can come in, and it's not really closed off. So the idea of Filipino transparency is actually one thing just sort of flows into the other. It can be one space flowing into the other. It can be your piña shirt or piña barot saya. You have your outer layer of piña. You have a second layer. No, first you have this thing, the panuelo that goes over. Then layer 2 is the blouse. Layer 3 is a camisole, which the bottom of that is very embroidered very fancily because you're supposed to show it. Old Filipino ladies really dressed very sexily. And then you wore your skirt, but on top of that you put something else, another piece of cloth for more color or more protection. So the Filipino idea of dressing and of living was having layer upon layer upon layer. But these layers were always interconnected. They were not blocked off one from the other. They were transparent in a way. Transparency shows in Philippine architecture too. So you have walls that are walls but are not walls. It tells you that this calls a stop to this area. There's another area outside, but I'm not blocking it off totally. So you're half in, you're half out. You're enclosed, but you're not enclosed. Transparency turns up in a lot of Filipino products too. And one of the most successful products that's been around for years and years and years is the Capiz product. And I marvel every time I see a new adaptation of the same product. And the new adaptations really are good adaptations. It just shows that we know how to work with transparency. We know how to do these things. So we have this type of Capiz that's colored. We have that. We have many others. We have those old, I'm sure you've seen those round lamps and all. So it's a product that evolves with time and with what people are desiring at the moment, but the basic idea has not changed. It's transparency. Everyday heritage is shown in many ways. These are again 17th century terracotta pots, which look very much like our pots of today, which could become some kind of a product tomorrow. We also have ceremonial products out of terracotta. These are the heads of those burial jars that we saw earlier. But again, these are sources that an interested person may take as the basis to start a new design. I said basis and I said start because we're saying that a new design means that a new design means you could do a reproduction of this, high quality reproduction, or you can take this idea, make it more modern, or make it into whatever you perceive it to be. We have forgotten in many ways that the Filipino has a heritage of craftsmanship, high-level craftsmanship. This I learned in my early days of design center work, of going from north to south and looking at all of this stuff. I mean, I never saw so many things in my life. And also, to be honest, at that point, I did not know one basket from the other or one type of suman from another. It was a huge learning period for me, and I'm glad that I went through it. But there are things to discover, like the Filipino heritage of craftsmanship allows you to do wood cutouts like this. This is very simple, by the way. I'm sure you've seen fancier ones and more complicated ones. More examples of how craftsmanship goes from folk products, traditional products, to something that's very sort of high design. But this was done in the 1930s. This is an Art Deco floor, marquetry, 2 shades of Nara, in a house in Iloilo. This is a comoda or a armoire made in Bohol. Extremely good carving. And you can see very primitively done. I mean, you can see how unsophisticated the chisels were, or the knives that were used for carving. But again, look at what the end product is. And we can look at architecture and see also that this facility for carving went into stone. It went at this eye for design, or this eye for traditional expression, could combine stone with wood. There are patterns in the wood which reinforce the patterns in the stone. There are many aspects of Filipino design or Filipino craftsmanship that really bear a look. I mean, we don't really look at them anymore. We take these things for granted. We would rather look at magazines, which are the wrong things to do. Take time out, go out of town, look at these things, and come back, really charged and full of ideas for what you want to do. Part of the craftsmanship is also in wooden fretwork, like this. This is a public swimming pool found in Karkar in Cebu, the heritage